Kia ora, hola, aloha, konnichiwa, privet, hello. Wherever you are watching or tuning into this reading from around the world, March Earth Predictions reading, welcome and thank you for tuning in. If we take a quick look back to February's reading, and don't think that the cards from February will, or the energies around those cards will just disappear, because they don't. Everything continues to flow on. So those energies and vibrations from the February reading won't necessarily stop straight away. It just ebbs itself into the current month's reading. So if we go back to February and have a look at the cards or the energies that came in, when I talked about the Father card and I mentioned the falling from space, meteorites and asteroids, I don't even think I was aware of the huge degree that that was going to play out. And I believe we still have many of those coming in from space still as we speak. And another thing I learned in that reading was the Tower card. I had suggested before that the Tower card showed up quakes up through the northern European area, and in particular Italy. We did have a quake in Italy last month, a reasonable one. And as well, I have learnt that the Tower card literally means tower buildings. We had a big explosion in a Mexican tower building, I believe, which took quite a few lives. We had earthquakes in Tokyo which shook the towers. And there were a few other issues to do specifically with modern tower buildings. So I've been able to add that into my understanding of that card. So coming back to this month's readings, the first card that arrived was the Body card, and you can see it there in front of you. Now this card heralds quite a few different meanings. We can look at it there, and you can, if you think that that's the physique of a body and the muscles, we can perhaps comprehend that we're talking about really fit bodies. So that makes me think of sports. Now the sports arena around the globe at the moment is suffering huge negative issues. There are so many people that are being ousted for drug use, and I don't think that's going to stop. So I think we will see more of those type of headings around the world, more people being pulled out and having their previous accolades and awards removed from them for enhanced drug use or various forms of cheating. We've got the cricket issues going on around the world where there's been fixing, if you like. We've got lots of athletes that are being found out to be taking drugs to enhance their performance. There have been recently 2 Ghanaian runners who had won medals that have been found out. There's the Pistorius case with the murder that's going on, and I'm not entirely sure there's not something else underneath there, possibly drug related. Anyhow, we're going to see that flow through the month. The other thing that this Body card indicates is mass injuries. That, if we look at it, the skin's all missing off that body. It's not a particularly good looking body from the perspective of how you should look. So I think there are going to be injuries in specific set incidents, and there can be quite a few injuries all at once. Another thing that the Body card goes to is cellular level, because we look here and we see that this is the cellular part of a body. So we think of cellular changes. That can sometimes be mass compassion events again, because you're going through to the heart chakra and also the cells, and we see some changes occurring. We can get scientific new knowledge coming in about cures for illnesses. We can find new illnesses around, so something to do with health related issues as well, science related issues. That's for the Body card. The Sage card. Haven't had him out too many times, but it really makes sense that he's arrived for this reading, because look what's going on at the moment with the Pope. We're going into the final few days. The second card to arrive for the reading for March is the Sage card. Now this card again holds quite a few meanings. One of the leading ones I feel that it's putting its energies or vibrations towards at the moment is the election of the new Pope. There are 1.6 billion Catholics around the world roughly who I think will be very interested in following the whole Papal election issue. This card just reeks of sitting there cloaked in almost in a monk's clothing. We have the books surrounding him. There's knowledge. It's a closed door affair. There's all manner of secrecy clothed or cloaked into it. And these are knowledgeable people. So there's lots of knowledge. There's background, antiquity, era, biblical stuff. There's a whole manner of energies coming out of this card right at the moment, so it doesn't surprise me that it turned up. And I think a lot of its focus is directed around the papal election for the new pope. I don't think it's going to be necessarily a quick and easy election. There's a lot to deliberate for the church this time around. They need to make really big changes, sweeping changes through that whole institution. It's quite archaic in a lot of its belief systems. Just this week there was a UK priest who has stood down immediately with accusations against sexual predator moves made from him towards other priests. So there's been stuff like this going on hidden for so long by people who claimed to be superior than your average person, you know, looking up to them. They're not faultless, and this is all coming out. It's the same message that we got earlier, that you can't hide anymore. The things that you did in hiding are being eked out. There is no hiding. And this card, that's one of the main messages of it. So we see it quite profoundly. There's a lot of writing and thinking and going through scriptures and all sorts of things to find the answer. And in the back here on the shelf is a set of scales. So it's going to be quite an interesting deliberation and process that comes up soon. The other thing that the Sage card holds is just leaders, global world leaders, very important people. Again, who hold positions of authority. That can be politicians, kings, prime ministers, presidents, any of those energies. And they're not, these energies that are coming about are not necessarily all good. So you could find top people around the world in the news for unusual circumstances, unexpected circumstances, changes in direction or thoughts or systems in place. So that's a lot of the messages that the Sage carries through. One of the other messages is this in the book actually looks like a diagram of a very specific physics diagram, and it pertains in my mind to the stars and the heavens. We are currently going through a very big conjunction and planetary lineup. There are 4 conjunctions set in an 8-day span, which puts us on the second major watch of 2013, which could include an uptick or an increase in Earth activity. But not only that, because planet conjunctions, as anyone who follows any form of astrology will understand, it affects us as humans. So we're going to see a lot of humans on the planet under stress as well. Hence when I say we could have big political argy-bargies or announcements or strange moves. Keep an eye on North Korea as well. We know that Kim Jong-un is in a mood for movement. So that's the Sage card. Lots of... So as I say, the Sage isn't going to just be about the Pope and the elections coming up for the Roman Catholic arena. It is also about major key players globally around the world. So government figures, political figures, kings that rule countries, prime ministers, presidents, etc. I feel there's quite a lot going on emotionally wise or human energy wise. So we'll see all sorts of messages coming to the fore in March, and these key players are going to be affected. You'll hear unusual situations or occurrences or changes that they will be stepping up or making or saying or being involved in. Okay, the next card that arrived was the Beauty card. The last 2 times the Beauty card has arrived, we have had 2 unusual deaths in England of high society ladies, both of which were possibly involved with drugs. So that card kind of seems to sit with that. I don't know what could happen again, but those definitely the last 2 times we've seen that message come through. We also see possibly pregnancies of well-known people being announced, We see issues perhaps to do up in that Middle East and often pertaining to women. We see woman issues possibly. We've certainly had a lot in poor old India this year, is going through its fair share of rape, crisis issues and energies. So the woman is standing up there and being heard. So I get the feeling we've got a lot more woman energies surging to the fourth for March, this demanding to be held in the same light as everyone else and to be fairly represented and not bullied and pushed around. I also think that this beauty could be the partner of the sage, if you like. And they sit very well together, or very closely together. They're right next to each other. So there could be involvement between, if you have a political leader and his wife as such, or it could be a leading lady political leader and her partner. So there's a whole tie-in here of energies of complications, implications, leading figures globally around the world and issues to do with them. The next card that arrived was the Union card. I've seen this card before several times indicate falling. Again, we've got that falling. These are rocks falling down. So we get mudslides, avalanches, heavy torrential rain that creates movement. So you know your avalanches that shift valleys around and houses or buildings, flood rivers and take out bridges and things. So rain, lots of rain. The other card that's coming, you'll see in a minute, is weather related as well, and they sit next to each other. This is the merging of two energies, so it's a powerful, almighty connection in the middle. It's just like a whoosh, boom force. It's a strong, big force. We also have the chalice that's indicative of religious connotations as well, which we know is happening. I think we're going to see lots of change come through this Catholic Church, and this new Pope may well be the last Pope. Prophecies have predicted that there would be, that they thought Benedict might be the last Pope. We'll see. There's lots of new changes coming in there. Things falling from the sky again still, maybe a few more of the meteorite asteroid issues, the planetary lineups all coming into effect. The last card that we see here is the cave. We had him in February's reading, he hasn't gone away. That to me is the big storm systems that come in. I see the water next to it again. We've still got more of those big sandy type energy storm issues coming. I see Australia has two cyclones, I think, bearing down on it at the moment on the west side. They probably are going to be relatively big. This card gives the hunkering down, inner earth, tunnels, loneliness, power outages, fear, loss, darkness, volcanic activity, earth movements, new earth movements, hidden stuff, hidden agendas again. So the reading kind of definitely does sit itself in the hidden agendas, everything being outed, change coming through that. Weather systems again, big cyclonic weather type systems and weather patterns, wet weather, rain, movement, falling things from space, human injuries and the sporting issues. I think also there has been a little bit of a tie-in here. The end of the reading for the March predictions. Thank you for watching and tuning in. I really appreciate your time. I enjoy doing these for you. We've got quite a following here now, and many people from around the world tune in to watch this. So we'll just have to see how March plays out. I'll put the annotations on as I always do. And I hope that you're all safe and well and eyes open, everyone. There's plenty to see out there. The world is changing around us day by day on a daily basis, and it does lead to growth and knowledge and learning. Anyone, if you've got any ideas about what you feel the cards, issues or energies are, feel free to put them on. I'm happy to hear everyone's comments. Take care all, kia kaha, much aroha.